I invite our respected Vice Chairman to share his thoughts with each one of you. Sir, please.
Good morning, all of you. I need a little more energy from your side. Good morning. Morning. I think let me first welcome you today and extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the WIPS family. And it has been a tradition here, and this is what I shared yesterday also. I know the faculty would be little, uncomfortable listening to the same ideas again and again, but then you as fresh people, fresh batch of people who I'll be addressing today, there'll be few things which I have changed from what I spoke yesterday, just to bring in an element of, little interesting, making it a little interesting for the faculty also who's sitting here. I'll do with the protocol issues first, thanking Dean Ma'am, who's present here, the respected faculty members who are present amongst you, and who will be your guiding force in the duration of the course that you pursue here. Are you able to hear me at the back? Right at the back. There are two gentlemen sitting. Can you hear me? You don't have to look right or left. You are the only one sitting at the back. There's nobody else sitting right at the back. Can you hear me loud and clear? The last one's there. Is it clear? Okay. I think I would not say anything, because then Shilpa ma'am normally gets annoyed with me. She says that why do you have to, whatever words that she possibly, tries and express her feelings and other things for me is a respect that I think, I would not say that I don't deserve, but then it's a little too exalted a position that she always puts me in. And she got annoyed last time. She said that that's not the right thing to do. I respect what you say, but then at times I feel a little embarrassed. I have shared with her so many times that it's good to be human, it's good to be connected with people. I want to connect with people more. I have started speaking of late. It's been 17 years. People have been watching me, sitting there, listening to people, dignitaries coming from all spheres of life. I've been a very patient listener. And that's what possibly, somewhere down the line I feel has helped me in terms of, absorbing more information that I need to absorb. Because I was not the one, wanting to push, because then chairman who happens to be and wants to meet you more often and would be having more interactions with you in times to come is the one who possibly, and given his experience, his age, his, administrative experience, everything, he has more valuable insights to share. What I possibly share is something which yesterday also I mentioned, that it's a culmination of different ideas, abstract form of ideas which I try to bring them together, and the inspiration is drawn from both the West and the Eastern wisdom that we have followed, and that's what possibly our inspiration, the name within which we all stand together here, the umbrella that we hold, under which we are protected here, the name of Swamiji was chosen only for this reason. It is nothing to do with the cult that we possibly represent. He is the youth icon of all times to come. He's somebody whom possibly, even if you 100 years down the line, if somebody would talk about him, they will talk about his relevance, his relevances of his ideas that still prevail and would prevail. So that is the eternity of his ideas that we carry forward. And that's the spirit that we want to carry forward here. I like to bring in a little Western concept of Edward de Bono, which clearly I'll give you a few names. Who knows Babington Macaulay? Anybody here? The education system that we inherited from the Britishers, the syllabus, the everything, the examination system, was the idea floated by this gentleman in the year 1800, the beginning of, and the late of, possibly the beginning of the 19th century, fine? And this is how he started, and that's how the East India Company brought in with them a university system with them. To create what? Clerks. Because there was a gap, there was a need, of the hour, that Britishers were finding it difficult to push through their, economic growth agendas here. They needed people to be trained in certain skills and certain, communication efficiencies in terms of English languages. That this gentleman possibly proposed an education system which was more monolithical in its structure, and that's what we inherit even today, and that's what we follow even today. It doesn't make the syllabi to be, something not to be cared for. Be very cautious when I say those words, right? Because it's very good to teach you certain things, but then try and maintain a balance of things in life. And that's what the central message of this message today to you people is. Why I'm telling you all this is because then of 35,000 colleges that are there in India, almost 17,000 of them prepare students for BBA, BComs and other streams that you are studying in. So it's an enormous challenge for you people who have joined in WIPS and for others who have joined different organizations with this different expectations and aspirations in their minds. Normally, education institutions are considered to be employment exchange. Fine, we are not employment exchange, we cannot guarantee you a job. You have to be worthy of enough to have one once you leave this institute. And the worthiness would be coupled with the knowledge that your erudite scholars, the teachers, the faculty, the researchers, their in-depth study of subjects that you're going to study. That is what is going to give you an edge in terms of what and how capable you become in times to come, to either get employed by somebody or to employ others into your own organizations when you leave out of this institute. There was another good gentleman, I have to refer to these cheat sheets, fine, which I know some of you will try even in examinations. Please don't do that. I have this name here with me. It's Wendell Johnson. This is another inspiring, possibly a negative side of what inspiration is, and correlates and is very relevant to what our prevalent education system is. I'm telling you a little background to all this because once I start to develop the theory that I'm going to tell you beyond what this institution would really mean to you in times to come, is there where you'll be able to connect these dots as to why is this story is being told to us. Fine. So this gentleman possibly is known for his monster theory. There's something called a monster theory, and the theory is more about discipline through punishment, which your examination systems possibly, or your reprimanding by your faculty members, I'm sorry, with due respect, fine, because you give them all the reasons. It's not that they are the ones who will be doing that. You are the ones who are going to give them the reason, fine. He did a very interesting study long back where he divided a set of students into two groups, right? One group was given very positive affirmations even on their failures, and there were a different kind of results that came in. But then the man that he was himself and the belief system that he carried, the environment that he was brought up in, he took the other side of the negative side of reprimanding and seeing how this theory works. And he focused his entire attention of his research and everything into seeing how punishment possibly gets you to comply, to adhere, and to be more disciplined. I'm giving you these flavors so that you understand that we are not that kind of an institution. We will try to give you certain freedom in terms of what you need to learn and understand. But then why I came to De Bono was, he talks a lot about, and you should go and see Edward De Bono's online lectures. Fine, interesting fellow, talks a lot about what lateral thinking is all about. Some of you may know what lateral thinking is, some of you may possibly would not know, but then read about it. Fine. He says something about, and the thought that I'm giving is in the entire background to this thought is based on that only, is to provoke you people to learn and to learn and to teach yourself how to learn about life and learn about things and subjects. Fine, it is not to limit yourself. I know banking and finance is one subject where you will be dealing with more, the RBI guidelines to whatnot, and it's a very structured, dull kind of a, course that you're going to study. But then, given that, if you see, and I quote one more example which comes from 3M, a company known 3M. How many of you know 3M? Somebody here? Okay. 3M is the most innovative company of the world. And why is it so innovative? Is because they allow their employees to have a certain amount of time as free time, which is, they called it as brainstorming, time, where an employee can take break from their routine, go out, spend time with them, think about ideas differently, think about problems differently, think about new product lines differently. So the structure that I'm wanting to suggest to you is that you have something which is prescribed in the textbook. Do that, because you have to pass your examinations tomorrow. You have to be worthy enough to know. Even to think outside the box, you must know what is the box first. And to know the box first is to be very rigorous with what you study here and what you memorize. So you have to sharpen the part of the brain is called hippocampus, which is the memory part of your brain, which stores the entire memorization that you do. So you have to make it very strong in times to come, but at the same time not forget about the tips that are being suggested to you in terms of find some time, spare some time to read extra material, do a little extra research, follow the leaders of your industry, because in case you say I have to do a out-of-box thinking, you have to make it as a practice. It cannot come as a Newton idea that someday you'll see an apple falling from the sky and you say, no, Eureka, here is my moment and I'm going to change the world. No, that's one in a lifetime, or maybe 2 or 3%, but then that's now how ideas are created. You have to be within the system, understand the system, work within the system, understand its guidelines, why is it being done in a certain way, and then only you can develop your own ideas and crystallize your own ideas. So don't limit your knowledge, don't limit your way of seeing things. Fine. Teaching institutions were not meant for making you into, a mass certification kind of a thing where we just, vomit it out and you just kind of absorb it into you. No, that is not the real purpose of what education here at BIPS would mean. I would request each one of you to do an extensive study of the subjects that you do. Try and score as high as you can, but at the same time, spend time in learning about how the world is going about doing certain things. It's a little effort that is required from your side. It's a little comparative analysis that you'll have to do of the subjects that you study. But then if you do not have the passion to do it, I'm sorry, some of you would not be able to do so good in your academic studies. Fine. So with all these words, I can just pray and request you all. I have a few books to be suggested in case you are interested in reading those books. Those are very beginner level books. I'm not suggesting something which would be a research based. Interesting books in case you have some inclination towards increasing and broadening your horizons, seeing the world differently, fine, and thinking about alternatives and alternative ways of learning things. Try these books. 7 Habits, I don't know how many. I mean, those are very baseline things which were, when we were studying MBA programs, we were told study, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Fine, then Essentials by Drucker, Good to Great by Jim Collins. You can write it down in case some of you are willing. Fine, the Toyota Production System by Taiji Ohno, Circles of Innovation by Tom Peters, Knowing and Doing Gap, fine, Essays by Warren Buffett, then Many Years with General Motors by Alfred Sloan Jr., who was the son of founding father. And this is more important for you because then you are going to be joining an organization. My first 90 days in an organization, how you should be spending those days. And it tells you very good ideas about when you join an organization, you don't get into an aggressive mode that here am I. You have to understand the culture, the key important people who are making those decisions, why are they making those decisions, how have we come so far, why are we doing things certain ways that we are doing it, how can we do it better. Till the time you do not understand the entire ecosystem of an organization, you will be a complete failure. And that's what we normally see, and that's where we say and keep on stressing that you need to maintain the right balance between your own selfish interest and a team building environment. A team building environment would require you to sacrifice your own self at times, and howsoever knowledgeable you may be in terms of your understanding of a subject, there will be somebody who will be your boss telling you to do things differently, and how you handle that situation would possibly define as to whom are you going to turn out to be in tomorrow's world. So I think we can go on extending it, but then given the span of attention that people can, and you're not in any mood to listen to, are you in a mood to listen to more? Is it interesting? No? You want to listen to something more? Okay, there were two examples quoted by Shilpa ma'am initially. Fine. Who is Henry Ford for eye operations in India? I know the faculty would possibly figure it out. It's a very famous case in Harvard being taught. Henry Ford of eye operations. Henry Ford did what? Assembly line. Fine. The cars that are being made today, he brought in the concept of assembly. Fine. So who brought assembly line concept of operations, eye operations in India? Any guesses? Wild guesses? Faculty, any prompting? No? Anybody from the faculty? Anybody from the faculty? Arvind Eye Care. I don't know how many of you know possibly Arvind Eye Care. It is the most taught case study in Harvard. It's an Indian example where somebody who was Dr. Arvind, fine, he wanted to, the way he looked at the eye problem in India at that point of time, 1960s, was that I want to do it the McDonald's way. And he started creating those systems and places, and it's a very interesting in-depth case study. In case you lay your hands on, do read that. It will tell you exactly how small you can start, and you can build on by learning lessons from abroad or your internal examples. And even an eye operation and the kind of eye operations that they do and the cost effectiveness with that they do, they have gone far beyond what possibly the traditional, the domains were held by earlier Britain, fine. Then it shifted to Germany, and now how Arvind Eye Care brought all those cases, and they are getting cases from abroad now to be treated here. It's a beautiful case. In case you want to read it, read that. It will give you into an insight into how management scheme is being applied by somebody who's a non-management person. And it's a beautiful way that he conducts eye operations, how he gets, his messages spread out, the 5 P's of marketing that will be, and he has gone beyond those 5 P's. So it's a very valuable, insightful case, which I would recommend that you all study, read, reread, and try to understand. The more you reread a case, the more you reread a material, I think you will draw a very different inference each time you read it. So with all the wishes and all good luck to you in times to come, I think I'll rest there. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm indeed grateful. Thank you.